All right. What's up, everybody? My people in Manhattan, the Bronx, Queens, all in Staten Island, my homeborough, Brooklyn. I know it's been a while, but I'm back out with another video. Today, December 20th, 2024, marks the 50th anniversary of one of the greatest and secretly most influential horror films of all time, Black Christmas. This movie doesn't get a lot of credit. One, because I believe because it's a Canadian film, and of course, I don't think it gets a lot of credit here in the states because it's not one of our own movies, quote unquote. But it's definitely, like I said, that's why I said it's one of the most secretly influential horror films of all time. I mean, this film is the reason John Carpenter created Halloween, and this film, Black Christmas, started many of the tropes that's common with the slasher genre, even preceding Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Okay, both those movies were released the same year, but Texas Chainsaw Massacre gets a lot of credit here in the States because it's an American horror slasher flick. And like I said, Black Christmas is Canadian. Like I said, it's extremely influential. I mean, the final girl trope, the POV shots from the killer. But things with this killer is a lot different from the other ones, like Michael Myers or Leatherface or Jason and Freddy, so on and so forth. But we're going to get into that. I'm not going to cover the entire film scene by scene. If you want to watch it, it's available on YouTube for free, so you can check it out if you want to. But I'm just going to go through some of my favorite scenes from the flick. As you can see, here's the opening title card, Black Christmas, accompanied by some Christmas music. This is a POV shot of the killer, whose name's Billy. And the thing with Billy, we don't see him. We don't really see. You don't see his entire body and face. We don't know his motive. We don't know why he wants to kill the girls. He just climbs up into the house through the window and gets it and starts killing the girls. As you can see here, Andrea Martin, who plays Phyllis, or Phil for short. The girl sitting behind her is Claire. That's Margot Kidder of Lois Lane fame from the Superman films. Margot Kidder's character's name is Barb. And Olivia Hussey, who plays who's one of the first final girls, Jessica Bradford, or Jess for short. You see, they're all standing by the phone as the killer calls them. Right now, they call the killer. They just call him the Moaner. He calls him. He yells a bunch of obscene things. I'm not going to repeat right now because I don't think YouTube will allow me to repeat them. But he says a bunch of very obscene things, and they all stand around in shock and horror. Finally, Margot Kidder's character Barb just grabs the phone and yells obscene things right back to him, and he hangs up. Before he hangs up, he says, "I'm going to kill you," and the call goes off. And Margot Kidder responds, "Fastest tongue in the West." Barb begins antagonizing Claire and teasing her for being a virgin, and Claire goes upstairs. Jessica tries to comfort her, but Claire's not having it, and Jess kind of chastises Barb for teasing her, and Barb says, "I know a virgin when I see one," so on and so forth. Claire goes upstairs to pack because her father is going to be arriving to pick her up, take her home for the holidays. While she's upstairs packing, Billy is crept into her closet and is hiding behind all this plastic. Claire's cat, the house cat, whose name is Claude, senses Billy and goes running into the closet. Claire goes chasing after him, and Billy grabs her and chokes her and strangles her to death and puts the plastic over her face. I don't know if you two will let me to show that. While this is going on, they're all downstairs with their house mother, Miss Mac. This is Mac, and they're giving her gifts. This ugly dress she's holding. As you can see, Miss Mac not very fond of the dress. She has a very fake smile, a piss poor fake smile. While all this is going on, Claire's being killed upstairs and is later shown dead up in the attic with this terrified look on her face. Later on, Andrea Martin, aka Phyllis, and Margot Kidder, aka Barb, go down to the police station to ask them about Claire because they believe Claire's gone missing. This cop here is a complete damn moron, and Margot Kidder, Barb, starts teasing him. And he asks for the number for the house, and Barb says it's F.E. Fellatio 208800 or some number like that. And this cop, for some reason, this is a grown man, but he doesn't know what the hell fellatio is. But anyway, let me say this as an aside. Black Christmas, the creator of Black Christmas, Bob Clark, he didn't intend for this movie to be a feminist, like a feminist piece of work, a iconic feminist film, but that's what ended up happening because this movie came out in '74, a year after Roe v. Wade Roe v. Wade situation in the United States. Obviously, again, this is a Canadian film. The character of Jess Bradford is pregnant. Pregnant, her boyfriend Peter wants to keep the baby, but Jess wants to have an abortion. And also, the stereotype about police not taking calls from college girls seriously because they all believe it's a prank. So this movie touches on a lot of so-called feminist issues, but even though Bob Clark didn't intend it to be that way. Later on, the drunk house mother, Mrs. Mack, if you watch the film, you know she's a drinker. She goes up into the attic looking for Claude, the cat. Billy hears her and he hides and he grabs that hook, intending to kill Mrs. Mack. Mrs. Mack sees Claire's dead body and she's shocked and appalled, and then she turns over and finds Billy, and Billy releases the hook. The hook hits her and kills her, and he uses the hook to pull her now dead body up into the attic. Later on, another scene from the film, Olivia Hussey, Jessica or Jess, returns, picks up the phone, and again she hears the killer. This scene kind of made me laugh. You know, the cop right here, John Saxon, I believe his name was John Saxon, the actor who played him, goes over to, I believe the cop's name is Nash, and he's like, Nash, is this the correct number? He's like, yes, it is. Fellatio to so on and so forth. There are cops in the background laughing at him, and he replies, Nash, I don't think you could pick your nose without reading instructions. And Nash's dumbass says, I know what that is. There's something dirty, isn't it? And everybody begins laughing at his dumb ass. And later on, you see here Andrea Martin being comforted by Phil being comforted by Jess because he's scared that something horrible happened to Claire. Anyway, the police set up a thing to help trace the call. So here's John Saxon. I think his actual name was John Saxon. If I'm wrong, correct me down below. Sitting at the police station waiting for the killer to call so they can trace it. He was just sitting downstairs by the phone. Later on, Margot Kidder Barb is upstairs, and they're sleeping. And she begins to have an asthma attack. Jess goes in to check on her and give her an inhaler and comforts her. And while this is going on, Billy is standing right behind her, and of course, Jess backs turned to her, and Margot Kidder has her eyes closed. Jess later goes downstairs because she hears a bunch of carolers, and she opens the door to see the children singing. While this is going on, Billy comes in, grabs that glass unicorn, and uses the horn. Margot Kidder wakes up, and she sees Billy, and Billy begins to stab her to death. You know, Agnes, it's me, Billy. Before she can even scream, Billy stabs her. You know, later on, he's in the cop car asking for the call and asking for the address of that where the calls are coming from, and Nash tells him the address of the sorority house, and he's like, no, Nash, that's where the calls are going into. He said that's where they're coming from also, sir. He later radios his cop whose name is Jennings, I believe, who's supposed to be sitting outside to wait to protect the girls, but he's killed by Billy, as you can see. Nash later calls the house and tells her, Jess, the caller's in the house, okay? The calls are coming from the house. One of the most famous lines in horror film history. Jess, horrified, she begins to yell for Phil and Barb, but she get no response. She grabs a weapon and goes upstairs to find Phil and Barb dead. She doesn't scream, but she looks and sees Billy standing behind the door. Agnes, it's me, Billy. Don't you tell them what we did, Agnes. Then Jess slams the door up against him and takes off. She tries to escape, but the door is locked, so she runs out to the basement. Billy grabs her hair, but he's able to get away from her and lock the door and protect herself in the basement. Later on, Jess's boyfriend, as you see here, Peter, gets into the basement and looks to find Jess. Jess, quiet and horrified, believing that Peter is the killer. She beats Peter to death, and if something passes out, the police come down and find her awake. Later, she is asleep, and the cops all surrounding her, and they all leave. Later, we get another shot of Mrs. Mack's dead body and Claire's dead body. The phone begins to ring, and that's the end of the film, but the beginning of the modern slasher flick. His legacy. Black Christmas eventually gained a cult following and is notable for being one of the earliest slasher films. It went on to inspire other slasher films, the biggest one of all being John Carpenter's Halloween. Absolutely, just said that, which was apparently inspired by Clark suggesting that what a Black Christmas sequel would be like. Black Christmas has been included on multiple lists of various media outlets as one of the greatest horror films ever made. I agree with that. The film ranked number 87 on Bravo's 100 Scares movie moments. It was ranked at number 67 on IndieWire's the 100 best horror films of all time. It's interesting stating that the plot sounds formulaic, but Black Christmas remains a timeless thanks to its terrifying and elusive killer Billy, whose backstory is never revealed, as well as foreboding ending that doesn't offer much hope for the film's final girl. Like I said, that's one of the creepiest things about the film. Like, Billy's never caught. At least with Michael Myers, I mean, granted, we know Michael Myers will come back, but at least we see him, he gets shot, but he disappears. Freddy and Jason, at least they're killed at the end of their films, but we know they're going to come back. Chucky, so on and so forth. But Billy's not killed, and we never really see him. And we don't know why the hell he's doing it, but he just does it. Thrillist Scott Weinberg, in an article, The 75 Best Horror Movies of All Time, ranked the film at number 48. Paul Schratt of Esquire placed the film at number 23 in his list of the 50 best horror films of all time. In 2017, Compass Magazine named Black Christmas the second best slasher film of all time. The following year, Pace listed as the third best slasher film of all time, while also placing the character Jess Bradford at number one in the list of 20 best final girls in horror movie history. Yeah, I'll agree with that. Jess Bradford played by Olivia Hussey. You could say, of course, Laurie Strode played by Jamie Lee Curtis. While director Clark maintained he did not intend for the film to have political leanings, critics have noted Black Christmas is nonetheless a feminist film for its treatment of female characters, particularly Jess having agency, making the choice to have an abortion, and the portrayal of casual misogyny. Oh, here we go. As when police initially failed to take the sorority's concern about the phone calls, because asked seriously. Like I said, the film was released a year after Roe v. Wade. And of course, Roe v. Wade was overturned, I believe, last year or a year or 2 years ago, whenever it was overturned. Film critic Tim Dirks of the film review website filmsite.org added the film to his list of films featuring the greatest film plot twist, film spoilers, surprise endings based on the film's major plot twist, the revelation that the real killer was hidden inside the unsearched attic, and just implied murder. Olivia Hussey told Bravo during an interview about their 100 Scares movie mode series that when she met Steve Martin for the first time, he told her that she starred in one of his favorite films of all time. Hussey initially thought he was referring to Romeo and Juliet, but was surprised when Martin said it was Black Christmas and they had seen the film 27 times. Like I said, one of the greatest and secretly most influential horror flicks of all time. This is one of my favorite horror films of all time. But tell me what you guys think in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like button, subscribe. See y'all.